Somebody's chatting, or y'all talking about soccer over there. All right, cool. So let me find this problem. I should have pulled the problem up first.
The problem comes out of the test review.
Yeah, got x plus 2 over 14 equal to 8 over 7 plus x minus 4 over 2. You did everything right. You forgot, and you'll see what I mean. You forgot this 2 right here. All right, so we're going to solve this equation. Find the LCD first, which is 14. We're talking about the smallest number. They're both 14, 7, and 2. I keep saying both because I'm used to having 2, but that 14, 7, and 2 each can divide into 2 evenly, and that would be the 14. Then we multiply 14 to each numerator. Mr. Coley, you had this part right. So far, so good as far as your process is concerned. Once you multiply each numerator by the LCD, we can simplify. So these 14s will cancel completely. 7 goes into 14, leaves you with 2. 2 goes into 14, leaves you with 7. And I'm just writing down what's left. You know, that cancels completely. You're left with x plus 2. This is 2 times 8. This is 7. There you go, 7 times x minus 4. Maybe 16. Seven x minus 28. So before I go any further, anybody have any questions? Everybody good? All right, on the right side, we can combine the like terms. So 7x minus 12. And Mr. Coley, you didn't bring this 2 over to make it a 14.
Hold on. Let me see that again.
You brought the 7 over. That's what you do next, but then you leave the 2 off and you don't deal with the 2.
Okay. So that should have been 2 minus 12.
Well, yeah, -2 and -12. Yep. So you minus 7x from both sides. That'll be -6x plus 2 equal to -12, excuse me. Then minus 2. And that'll be -6x equal to -14. And so, like I said, if you didn't do this part, then you wouldn't get a -14 over there. You would have -12, and that's how you got
Hold
the
on.
2.
I got a -12. Hold on. I got to erase my paperwork.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, like I said, for some reason you dropped this 2, and all you had was -6 equal to -12.
-28. Okay.
Divide by -6.
Yep, that's what we'll do next. Yep. But I was just talking to him about what he did. Right now, everything up here is good. I was talking to him about what he did because he sent this problem to me and he was trying to figure out where he went wrong. Okay. And so, yeah. So we're good to go. I was just trying to troubleshoot him and his problem. Is this the beginning review? I wasn't here for the. Yeah, we're just reviewing. If anybody had any questions, you guys will be able to ask them. This was a question that one of your classmates sent me.
All right, let me keep writing. And -6x equals -14. 6, -6, x equals, Lord Jesus. Okay.
All right, so you good?
Yeah. Another one, number 5.
All right, so now before we go to yours, let's see if anybody else has, because I don't want, try to give everybody a chance. and then I'll make sure we get yours though. So since we just tackled one of yours, does anybody else have anything before we go to another one of his? Try to, open the floor to everybody. If everybody's okay, we'll go to his. Nobody, nobody, nobody. All right, Mr. Kohler, the floor is yours.
What got me when I was doing number 5, what dawned on me once I found I factored the answer out, it wasn't even looking for the solution to the problem. It just wanted to know the two numbers.
All right, number 5 in which section?
The review, I got the answer -5 and 2, but
Mhm.
the point that I'm getting at is you'll go through the problem and solve it, and then he's not even looking for that.
All right, let me go there. You said it's in the review.
Yeah.
Number 5. All right, so it says the following rational equation. Like I see 1 over x minus 4 minus 5 over x plus 6. You talking about that type of problem?
Yeah, it's one over x minus 5 minus 5x plus 2 equals 7. And
Okay.
I don't know if I was reading it wrong. After I factored over 7 over x is x to the second minus 3x minus 10. I knew to factor the bottom part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got my I forget what they call it, my two terms, I knew later on it dawned on me I had to subtract to make it -2 and add to make it +5.
Okay.
Thing that,
So looking at the directions here, it says write the value or values of the variable that makes the denominator 0. So that's what so in that first one, you're just talking about what's going to make this undefined. What's going to put 0 in my denominator?
and I was thinking they was looking for a solution.
Well, now in B, it says solve the equation. So B would have been looking for the solution. A was just trying to make sure you understood what values were not able to be a solution.
And by getting that, you get that by factoring the equation underneath 10 to get you two
Well, you
terms. Am
check
I
all
correct?
three. Well, you check all three, the first one, the second one, and the third one. And you want to factor that third one to make sure that they are different quantities than the first two.
Oh, can I recite this back real quick? So I would say x minus 4 equals 0,
Mm-hmm.
plus 6 equals 0. Then my two factor terms that I get from x to the second plus 2x minus 24.
Yes.
Oh, crap.
Mm-hmm. And so in this case, and probably in the case that you had too, that trinomial is going to give you the first two. So it's not like you would have created any, no different factors.
I killed some paper.
So it will be x is equal to 4 and -6.
Yep, that should be
Yep,
your
that should be there,
solution.
right? That should be the variable that makes the denominator 0. And
Yep.
that's how we're supposed to write it. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just solve the problem like with the least common denominator and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's no solution or the 0 and whatever, then we just put that up there.
Exactly.
Oh, what about that third term? Don't worry about the factors, what I get out of that.
Well, those factors are going to be x minus 4 and x plus 6.
Okay, yeah, because 6 times 4, got you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, if they produce different factors, then of course you will have to consider them. But with the problems you guys are getting, that's always going to be a combination of the first two, because this is just the foundational stuff.
Now, I just want to get it straight in my mind. On a piece of paper, when I'm writing it down, the first thing I should do is write x minus 4 equals 0 and x plus 6 equals 0.
Yep, those are the first two that and then look at the factorization of that third one. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. I just need to get it straight in my head.
Yep, not a problem. All right, we got something in the chat. So I was wondering when we take. Hold up. Okay, got a question first. Consumer purchased a computer for 22% price reduction. So for Ms. Roundtree, consumer purchased a computer after a 22% price reduction. If X represents the computer's original price, the reduced price can be represented by, okay, they didn't want to answer. They just want to know how can you represent the reduced price. The reduced price, I said priced. Well, let me go here. Go back to the notes. So if X represents the original price, the price reduction is going to be 0.22X. So that's 22% of the original price. As of mathematically means multiplication, and your price reduction is always going to be 22% of the original price. Like you can't take 22% of the sales price, and you know what I mean, in order to get the sales price. So it would be 22% of the original price. So to represent the sales price is going to be X, which is your original. Well, let me write it like this. In order to find the sales price, you would do original price minus the price reduction. I meant to write price reduction over here somewhere. But price reduction. So that means the sale price is going to be equal to X minus 0.22X. Now, these are like terms because there is a 1 sitting in front of X. So that's 1 minus 0.22, which would be 0.78X. So you should be able to put 0.78X in for that question that you were just asking about. You said consumer purchase. If X represents the computer's original price, then the reduced price can be represented by. So that should be good to go to represent your reduced price. Yep, no problem. All right, so somebody else is in here. It's burning. It says, okay, so I was wondering if okay, so now when you're talking about using a comma, now the different times that you would use a comma versus using the parentheses. Now, if you're talking about interval notation, and I think this is what you're referring to, interval notation is when you're using parentheses. If they just want a solution, like what I just did in the last problem, you're not using parentheses. You know, if your solution is X, is 4, you just type in, they normally have it like this, you would just do 4 like I did -4 and -6. Now, if you do parentheses, what you're saying is that your solution set goes from 4, right? It wouldn't go from -6 to 4. 4 to -6, it would go from -6 to 4. So this represents all of the values in between -6 and 4. So that's the difference in what you're saying as far as your solution is concerned. This is just two solutions, 4 and -6. This right here, all values between -6 and 4. So there's a difference in what you're trying to represent. So you would never use parentheses in this situation because you're saying my only two solutions are 4 and -6. So that's what you're saying right here. My only two solutions are 4 and -6. If you're using parentheses, you're saying that I have infinitely many solutions. My solutions will be anything between -6 and 4. So that's the difference between using parentheses and just using a comma. I think that's what you were asking. If not, please let me know, and I'll go back. Okay, yep, not a problem. And then also, this would be when you have an equal sign. You will use this when you have one of your inequalities. So you're talking about less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. When you have those, that's when you would do the parentheses. But if you just have a regular equal sign, all you would use is a comma.
Tucker.
Yes, sir.
On our when we have to write down each problem, name, class number, and date, and scan all those sheets. And that's
Say for
it.
the scratch paper.
Yeah.
As long as you got your name on it,
All right.
put it in. If I guess you can just put it on the scratch sheet. If you notate it somewhere, I pretty much got a handle on who's in what classes. But it always helps the more information you give me, whether you put it on a scratch sheet or if you put it on the email. 161 test one, somewhere notated.
Okay.
It's not really that formal. But yeah, you want to write down. The more you write down, the more easier it is for me, and the more I can give you credit for. Let's say uh, there was a discrepancy, or let's say you think you could have got partial credit. Remember, if any time you have a situation, let's go back to what your classmate was asking. I'm talking to the whole class, of course, right now. When you know you put parentheses or you put x equal. Let's say you typed in there x equal to 4 and -6. It would mark it wrong because all it wanted was 4 and -6, and they already had the x equals on the outside of the box. So let's say if you put x equals inside here, they will mark it wrong. So if you do something like that on a test, then always feel free to email me and let me know, and I can assign points accordingly. Or if you got something that was you feel like you did it right and you want me to check it out, or you think you could get partial credit. See, I won't know unless you tell me because I have too many classes, too many students to go combing through tests to see where I can add extra points. But if you think that points could be awarded, then always feel free to email me. You can email me that with your scratch work. So always review your tests. You don't have to do your homework like that, but you do want to review your tests. Make sure you got everything was typed in correctly, because remember your tests are what they are. You only get 2 shots, and it's more terminal, more concrete. So you go in there, look at it, and say, okay, well, that was close or that was right. I don't understand why I got it wrong. Shoot me an email. Hey, Mr. Tucker, on test 1 numbers, blah, blah, blah. Could you check them out? Because I think I got them right, or I think I was close, or something like that. And I'll go take a look at them and then let you know what I see.
Thanks,
And if
Tucker.
not a problem, not a problem. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Don't forget there is a test review out there. It is not mandatory, but I always suggest that you should at least take a look at them, even if you don't do them, because what you can do is streamline your studies. You'll know what type of problems will be on the test. Don't forget, if you get 85 or better, then I'll put 5 points on your actual test. So yeah, it's worth doing, but if you don't need the 5 points, then it's all good as well. Not gonna look at you sideways. Once again, they are not mandatory.
What's the deadline for the test again?
It's supposed to be the 15th. The 15th.
15th is the deadline.
Yes.
Okay.
So midnight the 15th. I don't think I put that in my math lab yet. I'll do that before the day is out.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Okay, so for the homework, you remember how you said something about how what percent you get? It rounds up to a 90. What was that percent again?
Mm-hmm. And if you ever misplace it, don't forget I put it in the document that I sent called Math Lab Specifics. So just in case you misplaced this, again, everything you need to know about how I handle my math lab would be there for you. But yeah, this is how we're gonna do it. So if you score 75 to 84.9, that'll be a 90%. And then 85 to 100 will be 100%. Now, once again, like she said, as far as everybody else is concerned, this is just for homework. Your tests are what they are. So once again, if you score 75 on your test, it's just a 75. Also, unlimited amount of tries to do this. And your test, though, you get 2 shots. All right. Now, at some point, we will do one that's proctored. Now, this is for, ones that I'm not watching or it's not password protected or anything like that. So if we do one that's proctored, then what I normally do is give you one more shot. So we'll do one with me, everybody come to the Zoom session, make your cameras available. I unlock the test and you'll be able to knock it out right there, just like we would in a classroom setting. But then I will offer a makeup opportunity as well. I did that last semester, so I don't mind doing that again, wherein you get one shot to get, now for that though, the highest you can get is an 85. Now, That shouldn't be a problem because even if you were to score 85, 85 test average in the class will still afford you the opportunity to get an A if you did all of your homeworks. If you did all your homeworks, you still can get an A out of the class if you have an 85 test average. So that will bump your grade up to a 90 and still give you that test. So if you're trying to get A out of the class, 85% test average is what you want to shoot for. All right. Questions? Any questions? The lowest test average you can have and still pass, you're talking about with a C, I think it's 60, and that'll bump it up to a 70. Somewhere around there, 60, maybe 59, bump it up to a 70. But that's if you do all of your homework. So, and don't forget, you know, I got extra credit, you know, floating around there, whether it be from the test reviews or, you know, we just did a Super Bowl opportunity. So, most of the time when people fail the class that I've set up is because they didn't do, versus you talking about somebody who did everything they're supposed to do and then they just didn't, you know, get a passing grade. So really, if you do everything you're supposed to do, you should come out of here with at least a C, no less than a C, you know. So yep. Questions, concerns, comments, anything, anybody? Any other questions, problems they want to see, type of problems?
Yeah, there's a type I need to see.
What you got?
When it comes to solving linear equalities, the three-part inequality part is confusing to me because I guess you don't flip the sign.
Well, you're supposed, the only time you flip your sign is if you have a negative, if you're dividing both sides by a negative. So let's say, I'll just make up one, let's go 3. So you're saying something like this, right? Three-part inequality.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you a scenario in which you wouldn't flip the sign, then I'll show you one in which you would. All right. So we want to solve for X. We want to leave X in the middle. So we want to solve as if this wasn't here. You would do the same type of situation. You would add 1 to both sides. But since that is here, you would add 1 to all 3 parts. I see somebody say something in the chat. Yeah, is there one that you want to see? Someone asked about a word problem. Is there a type you want to see? Or you just want me to find one? Because if I find one and you say, man, that was easy, you can't get mad at me. If I just, I mean, all I do is pick a problem. So if you have one in particular that you want to see, then find that. If not, then I will find one for you, I guess. So now we'll divide by 5. I don't think I have one specific. Okay. And we have the solution of 5/4 x. We have 8/5. So that would be our solution there. And we got bracket, parentheses, 4/5, 8/5, shade in the middle. Oh, 4/5 to 8/5. Still bracket and parentheses. So Ms. Kirk, before we do one in which you would flip the signs, is that okay?
Yeah, I followed that.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on that one before we look at another one? All right, so I'm going to do the exact same one, except I'm going to change one thing and see what's the difference that would occur. All right, so everything's the same except I have a minus sign right here in front of the number that's attached to the variable. So everything else is going to be the same. Going to add 1. Okay, I'll check that out. All right, and then we'll have, 4, -5x, and 8. And now, since I have to divide by -5, remember when we divided by a +5, nothing different occurred. But because I'm dividing by a -5, both of these signs have to change. So now I'm looking at -4/5 greater than, because these cancel for us. and we're looking at negative 8/5. So each one of these changed. All right, so now, because these change, and we always read our graph from left to right, 8/5 or negative 8/5 is on this side, and negative 4/5 is on the right side. So we need to, that's not a good way of writing that, but we do need to take this over here and bring this over here. Basically, we need to flip the order or the arrangement. Let's say flip the arrangement, because we had to change our signs. So it's going to be negative 8/5, and make sure if the mouth of your sign is open this way, going towards the negative 4/5, then it should be doing the same thing when we flip or rearrange our terms. Also notice the or equal to symbol is over here now versus being over here, because we flipped the whole thing. Because of that dividing by negative, got us to do that. And then the mouth is open, still open towards the negative 4/5. All right. So before we finish this off, questions on what we did there?
Do you want our scratch board for the review too?
No, it's not necessary with the review. Just the test. Yeah, just the test.
I did have a question about the book. Is it are we only going up to linear equations and absolute value inequalities?
You talking about as far as chapter 1 is concerned?
Yeah.
Yeah. It should
Okay.
stop at 1.7.
Okay, because I've been cataloging in a personal notebook I have. So.
Gotcha. Yep. So we're done as far as chapter 1 is concerned. So it goes up to absolute value inequalities. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, we got a word problem. So before we leave this, questions on this one. Is everybody good with that? All right. So word problem. That was word problem next. Okay. So you're choosing between two health clubs. Club A offers, and I'm in the chat if anybody wanted to read it. You're choosing between two health clubs. Club A offers membership for a fee of $21 plus a monthly fee of $24. Club B offers membership fee of $15 plus a monthly fee of $26. After how many months the total cost of each club be the same? What would the total cost of each club be? Okay, not a problem. So we have two health clubs. Let's write down the details of what they given us. We got Club A and Club B. All right, let me go back to the chat, get my details. Club A offers $21 fee, $21 membership fee plus $24 monthly fee. All right, and then B, $15 plus a monthly fee. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Club A is $21 membership fee with a $24 monthly fee. Club B is $15 membership fee with a $26 monthly fee. So the reason why this is important, something like this is important, is because Club A, you're paying more off the top for that $21 membership fee, but then you're paying less monthly. And Club B, you're paying a considerable amount less. Well, you know, $6 is considerable, I guess, depending on what we're comparing it to. $15 less monthly fee, a membership fee, but then monthly it goes up to $26. So we will let X be months. And so I will set up Club A as 21 plus 24X. And set up Club B as 15 plus 26X. All right, any questions on the setup? Make sure we're okay. Once again, if you want to see the words, you can hit the chat and see what your classmate put up. All right, so now it says after how many months will the total cost for each health club be the same? So the key phrase in this is the same. So that means you want to know, when is Club A going to be equal to Club B? So you go ahead and set both pieces together, set equal to each other, excuse me, and solve. All right, so we have 21 plus 24X equal to 15 plus 26X. And we'll get all of our terms with X on one side, all of our terms without X to the other. Matter of fact, I'll do that in purple. So these cancel and these cancel for us. So that'd be 6 equal to 2X. Divide by 2. X is equal to 3. I might as well put months back there. So in 3 months, you would have paid the same amount in both clubs.
That's,
Total.
I just got a question about something else.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me finish this one. So go back to the chat. So it says, after how many months will the total cost of each health club be the same? What will the total cost for each club be? So then you would take 3. You can plug it into either one of these. It doesn't matter which one. Because remember, at this point, both of them, the cost will be the same. So 21 plus 24 times 3. So that's 21 plus 6. Oh, not 82, 72. 72, and then 93. So it should be $93. All right, so before we leave this word problem, questions. Make sure we're all right. All right, Mr. Coley, what you got?
Absolute value got me confused. I got a problem. It's 2 absolute value of 2x minus 1 plus 6.
Is that my closing absolute value?
Yes.
And then plus 6.
Plus 6 greater than 16. Now, my question that I have is, do you have to write that problem twice, making the 16 a negative?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Because of the greater than.
You change the sign?
Well, first of all, let me say this.
I'm getting
Before,
confused. My math lab makes it confusing.
well, let's do this first. Solve for your absolute value. Isolate your absolute value on one side of the equation first. So in other words, you need to get rid of this 2 and this 6 before you do anything. Okay? So subtracting 6. Oh, put an equal sign. And then divide by 2. So that's the first thing you want to do before you go that route, which is not the wrong way of thinking. You're going to have to do that at some point. Oh, why is this doing this? There we go. We're going to do that at some point, but isolate your absolute value first. So now we have the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is greater than 5. Somebody says something in the chat. Okay, I'll get to that one in a second, Miss Catalina. Something else said. Yep. So the one that Miss Catalina, one of your classmates has written is very similar to this, but instead of the greater than, it has the less than. So we'll see the difference in writing the two. So like I said, before you look at rewriting, you want to isolate your absolute value quantity first. All right. So now with this one, because it's greater than, and the next one we look at will be less than, because it's greater than, you will write it as you see it, but then also it's 2x minus 1 is not less than. I didn't write it, but it should be less than. Less than negative 5. So you write it that way.
And that's where I get confused at my math lab.
Mm-hmm. What you mean? Where's the confusion?
The way they set it up is like you have to see the problem. So basically, when you get to this point, you write them both with different positive and negative signs.
Well, the only thing that's different is this. You know, this over here is the same thing as what you originally had.
Do you notice your errors are pointing in two different directions?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But that's only happening right here. Right? So this one, this right over on to the right, this is exactly what you have right here without the absolute value sign. Right?
Okay.
And then this one over here is the opposite inequality and the opposite sign. Right? It's less than and it's a negative 5.
Because when I was solving it, I put both the errors in the same direction.
Yeah, that's not how this one. When it's greater than, you always set it up this way. For greater than.
And if it's less than, they both go in the same direction.
We'll talk about less than in a second. I don't want to mix the processes.
Because I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. So just remember, I mean, if you can remember the setup, like for this one, if you want to go into why, we can talk about why. But if not, the main thing is just to know that when I have greater than, this is how I got to set them up in two separate ones. This one is talking about greater than, and this is talking about less than. They're taking you in opposite directions. All right. And like I said, you have to use the opposite sign. You have to use that negative 5. In both cases, you have to use the opposite sign. And so that's just your setup for, like I said, when you have greater than. When you think about greater than, because what happens is when you're doing an absolute value, it reflects. It does the opposite. So when you talk about greater than takes you in this direction. So then the less than one's going to take you in the opposite direction. It gives you these two quantities going here. The other one is going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to take us inside. You know, well, like I said, we'll do that in a second. But once you got that part, then all you're doing is solving your inequalities by adding 1 And your ones cancel. 2x is less than -4. 2x is greater than 6. Divide by 2. X is less than -3. I said -3, -2. And then x is greater than 3. And so you're talking about the values that are less than -2 and greater than 3. So once again, when you have that greater than symbol right here, that's always going to be the case. This is always going to be, this always has to be the result when you're dealing with the absolute value.
Thank you. I killed some brain cells on that one. Yeah, it's gonna ask you. Yeah, it's gonna ask you that too.
So these are your 3 answers, and normally there's an or in between when it's written like that.
And some of the problems they ask you for the intercept, which is the flip of the union.
You said they asked you for the intercept?
I think so. You have to flip the union sign.
I gotta look and see. You know what problem you're talking about? Because shouldn't have to do that in the intersection. I gotta see what you're talking about. They might be asking for something conceptual, so I had to take a look. All right.
It
So
could
let's look.
it could be from what I did in the book. I remember that from.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is going to ask for the intersection. So.
Okay. Well, it shouldn't be this type of problem, but
I just remember seeing it.
Yeah. So if you see it again, shoot me that problem so I can see what you're talking about. So now, Miss Catalina asked about this type of problem. Now, once again, just harping back on the idea that the one we just did had greater than. This one has less than. So this one, the way we'll set this one up, and also recognize that the absolute value is already by itself on one side of the equation. Can I illustrate a complex number question next? Ms. Brooke, can you be more specific when you say complex number questions? So, I don't know if you want to look for one that you know, or if you know what you actually type of problems you look for when dealing with complex numbers. So here we have 6x minus 9, the absolute value of 6x minus 9 is less than 9. So the first part, just like before, you write it the way you see it, but then you're going to do this part. So whenever it's less than, that causes you to set it up this way. Once again, greater than causes you to set it up this way. Less than causes you to set it up this way.
I like to thank the person for this problem because I didn't know when to do that.
Well, she's in the chat. All you gotta do is type in a thank you. She in there. So once you have this set up, well, before we go any further, is everybody okay with the difference? Once again, greater than, you set it up this way. Once again, you're still using the opposite sign of your number and opposite sign of your inequality. Then for less than, you set it up this way. Still using the opposite sign and the opposite sign of your inequality. All right. And so add 9 to all 3 parts. Let's cancel here. That's 0, 6x, 18. And then divide by 6. Cancel 0, x, 3. So we want the values that are greater than 0, less than 3. And then interval notation going from 0 to 3.
Can you scroll back up? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Questions on that? I know we had one. Okay, we have somebody looking for an example. So,
I have a question. Are we allowed to use our notes on the test, or are we not allowed to?
that's fine unless you want to challenge yourself, you know. I don't have a problem with you challenging yourself. Well, other than that, there's no way for me to govern that. You know what I mean? Since you'll be doing it on your own, at your own time. You know, like I could issue a statement saying sign this, you know, with academic integrity side, but you know, it's not that serious. So I don't mind you guys using your notes and all that. Main thing is that you know you make sure you get an understanding, especially for those who are going to go to 162, because this is your foundational stuff. That'll you know, your math courses are just like homes. You know, you build in one layer at a time, and the top layer depends on the layer under that, which depends on the layer under that. So you do want to make sure you take advantage of you know, me giving you the opportunity to take your time, be able to, you know, solidify these foundational things in your mind, and, you know, so that you'll be ready for 162, and maybe some people going to calculus. But yeah, so make sure you take advantage of it. You know, I don't have a problem with that at all. Good question. Good question.
So for absolute value, you have to solve two different ways dealing with the sign changing.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Absolute value inequalities. Yep. Well, absolute value equation is the same as well. Yeah. Because remember, when you're dealing with absolute value equations, let's go 5x minus 1. I don't know. I think I did that before already, but it's all good. 5x minus 1 equals 7. Remember, you're going to solve it equal to 7 and then solve it equal to -7. It's the same thought process. It's just that there's no opposite equal sign. You know, over here, we're doing opposite signs of our inequalities. Here, there's no such thing as opposite equal signs. So you're doing the opposite signs, you know, and then solving it. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Everybody good. Okay. Everybody straight? Everybody all right? You know, next class, I will be looking to get into chapter 2. Don't forget, like it was mentioned, you know, February 15th is the deadline for chapter 1 stuff. 11:59. If you have any issues, you know, trying to get that stuff or making the deadline, making the timeline, don't just take zeros. You know, talk to me, email me. Let's see if we can work something out. Whether it be getting an extension or whatever the case may be, but don't just take zeros if you don't have to. Yeah, let's try to work it out. See if we can get you on track.
Can you scroll back up real quick?
Let me know when to stop.
Keep going. Right there. Stay right there.
All right. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Once again, you know, test review. At least take a look at the test review before you jump into your test. It'll help you to know what's, you know, the type of problems that are going to be on your test, and you know, go from there.
Scroll down a little bit. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you have to solve just totally different.
yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't say totally different. It's just that the initial setup is different, but you know, your thought process is still the same. You're using the opposite inequality, and because these, when you look at what's going on right here, they look like they're the same sign, but if you were to write them, you know, if you're talking about 6x minus 9 is less than 9, but if you write this one right here, that's 6x minus 9 is greater than -9. So really, you're using the opposite sign and the opposite inequality. You know, it's just they're just in the same sign because you know you're just using the same sign like this, just because of the way it's positioned. The -9 is on the left side of the expression, but if you were to write the expression on the left side, you're using the opposite sign and the opposite inequality in both cases. You know.
So if I would solve it like the 6x minus 9 less than 9, then rewrite it again, 6x minus 9 greater than negative 9, that'd be the easiest way to solve it, right?
If you want to, but don't forget they want you to write the most simplest expression, or the simplest way of representing that expression is right here in that black circle. Now, when you go to graph it, it's going to give you that, because what'll happen is you'll have x is greater than 0 and x is less than 3. So you'll have those two expressions, and that will create this shading right here. But that doesn't necessarily translate. But the easiest way to represent this relationship is right here. And that's what they want. You remember, math always want the simplest way, or what they deem the simplest way of representing an expression. And to them, the simplest way of representing that expression is right here.
And if I would go by the shortcut way I see to the right-hand side on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
my arrows would be in different directions, and that's how I end up confused.
Yeah, But see, that's why you got to read it and not necessarily be leaning on the direction. So this says your solution is less than 3, but greater than 0. This says your solution is greater than 0 and less than 3. It's the same thing, right? The mouth is open towards the greater piece. So this mouth is open towards x. So that's saying x is greater than 0, but this mouth is open towards 3. So x is greater than 0, but it's less than 3. The mouth of your symbol always open towards the greater piece.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that's why you want to get in the habit of reading the expression, not necessarily going in the direction of the symbol and where it's pointing, because direction may not, because we always read from left to right. So if you don't write it a certain way, then you may not be reading it the way you should. I'll say it like that. So you always want to make sure that you're reading the expression properly. So if I say x is greater than 9, if I write this says 9 is less than x, which is the same thing as saying x is greater than 9. You see what I mean? So being on the left side and right side may, affect how you interpret it. That's why you want to make sure you're reading it properly. And like I said, the mouth is always open towards the greater piece of the expression. 10 is greater than 5. Mouth is open towards the 10. 10 is less than 100. The mouth is open towards the 100.
I appreciate this review, Professor Tucker.
Not a problem, sir. Not a problem at all. Anything else? Anybody else? And I was mad I didn't minimize my window. Remember I talked to you about minimizing the window. I only had it for part of the video minimized, but we'll be all right. Just got to get in that habit so I don't impair the videos. All right, impair the vision of the videos. Anything else before we close out today? Anything else? All right. So if you have any other questions, also feel free to shoot me that email. Some people sent me some emails on Sunday. Didn't get to any of those. So if you sent me anything late Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to try to answer those, by the end of today. But outside of that, if you have any questions that are generated, feel free to shoot me that email. I'll respond to them accordingly, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a great day. Have a great week. And I'll see you on what is it? Wednesday. See you guys on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, boss. Have a good one.
Yep, you do the same.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, take care. Coley, were you saying something else?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.